Shortly after midnight on Sunday, the 31st of March in 1968, the telephone rang at my home in rural Maryland, 20 miles north of Washington, D.C. An operator at the White House was calling. Her message was brief. "The President," she said, "would like for you to be here this morning at 9. Did she have any idea why? "Not a clue," she confided, her voice cheery and conspiratorial. Not a clue. Were others also being summoned? Was there perhaps to be a group meeting for some purpose? Nope, no evidence of it, not from the calls through the switchboard tonight. The operator had no other information. Before retiring for the night, the President had asked her to relay the message about time and place. That was all she knew. I was prying, of course, as one learns to do, and the operator laughed understandingly. "It's like old times, Mr. Busby," she said. "You've drawn the Sunday shift again." In other years, while still serving as one of the President's special assistants, I frequently drew what the staff referred to as the Sunday shift. That meant being called in by the President to share with him the loneliest hours of his week. Sometimes the summons came from Camp David, the secluded retreat of presidents in the cool mountains of Maryland, not far from Washington. A Sunday there meant long walks through the deep forests, a few games of bowling, at which the President competed intensely, determined to win, and at twilight, a quiet time before the log fire, listening as he reflected on the problems the week ahead would bring. At other times, during vacations, the calls came from his ranch home, and one knew to expect a day of casual driving over the dry southwestern hills, admiring his cattle, as Westerners expect guests to do, counting the young deer when they broke from the underbrush and went leaping across the open pastures, and occasionally, when he yearned to leave the ranch, the President would ask you to take the wheel and drive past the reporters watching at every gate, while he ducked from sight, hoping to escape to freedom beyond the fence. But when he was alone at the White House, the patterns of such Sundays with the President seldom varied. At the start of the morning, one expected a quiet hour in the refuge of the small, square bedroom on the second floor of the executive mansion. Lying beneath the covers of the high canopy bed, out of sight of the constant eye of security, servants, and staff, the President invariably began his day turning through the thick Sunday newspapers. He glanced over the pages, reading aloud columns and editorials which caught his eye, chuckling at some, fuming at others. Several times each morning he was likely to pause, coming alive with some fresh idea the news suggested. "Why can't we do this?" he would ask, laying the papers aside. Then he would excitedly sketch out his thoughts for a new government program to meet some need identified from the morning reading.